April 1973. Tragedy and despair have struck Central Texas. A young college student named Maria Flores has seemingly vanished without a trace. She was last seen near the town of Newt more than 2 weeks ago, but with no physical evidence, the investigation has stalled. With few leads and even less hope, Maria's younger sister Ana Flores and a group of her closest friends set out to find their missing loved one. But any grief or sadness caused by Maria's disappearance would pale in comparison to the agony and despair they would soon discover. What awaited this group of youths was a nightmare beyond belief. The events surrounding Maria's disappearance would be just one of the many bizarre crimes later known as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Hello, it is me, Grabbertha Sheeps, and in today's video I will be talking about the basics for killer. Yippee! So in this video, obviously, we're gonna go over the basics for killers. I already went over the victims. You can look over here at this video if you want to see more about the basics for victims. So if you're not aware or, have no idea, but recently the game itself was put on PlayStation Network Plus free for their members, so we've had a new influx of upbeat players. Yay! And like all new players, we gotta start somewhere, and like I said before, the tutorials are not that great. It's just YouTube shorts. That's about it. So in this video, we aren't like I said before in the last one, these are just the basics. We're not going to go over perks. We're not going to go over abilities. We will be going over the basics as killers, what your job is to do, such as patrol, kill victims, feed grandpa, and etc., etc. That's about it. It's nothing too complex. But just like victims, we'll also have separate little videos that will go over how you're supposed to play certain characters and how the perk system works. But for now, we're just gonna go over the basics like usual. So enjoy. Yippee! Welcome to the family. Depending on who you choose to play, you will spawn in different parts of the map or sometimes start in an objectives area. If you choose Leatherface, however, you will always start in the basement. To walk, simply use the WASD keys and the mouse for their camera movement. For the console, use the left and right joystick respectively. Some characters can crouch, such as Hitchhiker and Sissy. To crouch, it's C for PC, circle for PlayStation, and B for Xbox. To sprint, it's the spacebar for PC, L1 button for the PlayStation Network, and LB for the Xbox. Like victims, you have a stamina bar. However, it not only depletes while you sprint, but also while you attack. To attack, press the left mouse button for PC, R2 for PlayStation, and right trigger for Xbox. Every swing costs a great deal of stamina. If you run out of stamina, your character will reset in an out of gas animation, and will have to wait a couple of seconds before it regenerates completely. So try and keep an eye on it because a victim could always be one hit away. Once the match begins, you'll meet in the middle of the map where the basement doors are generally placed. If you begin outside of that area, make your way there. If you start as Bubba, your main objective is to try and prevent these victims from opening these basement doors for as long as you can until the family arrives closer to that midpoint to assist. As family, it's your objective to prevent victims from escaping through the 4 main routes or bonus routes. This includes the car battery, generator, valve, and fuse box. I've already explained how each route is activated through my victims video, so I will not repeat that here. Now back to spawning in set objective areas. If you spawn inside of car battery or generator, make sure you leave immediately unless you're trapping, poisoning, or gathering blood, or whatever it is you're doing. Make sure that when you leave, you close any doors you may have opened on your way out. It is essential that you close and lock the doors behind you. Once you've made it towards the center of the map, and if Grandpa has awakened, you must protect and patrol the doors first that lead into Battery or Jen. Those are the most important because once the victim gets in, it'll become harder to patrol and protect. To see if a door has been picked, look for the little latch on the left side of the lock. If it's gone, then it's definitely been picked. Another way to tell is if you approach the door and do not see the unlock and open prompt, then it's definitely been picked by a victim. If you see a fresh patch of blood on the floor, then you can tell that was recent. Use your family vision to help focus on any voice lines given off by the victim. To activate family vision, press the scroll wheel on PC and up on the D-pads for Xbox and PlayStation. Family vision is essential in locating objectives such as Fusebox and Valve. It's also a key factor in keeping an eye on locks or traps. Having problems with locating victims even with family vision? Well, try feeding Grandpa. When Grandpa roars, he sends out his sonar, and if victims move during the sonar, they will be highlighted. He also lets out a warning if a victim passes by him. Gathering blood buckets by interacting with them is essential if you can't wrangle a kill. For every 100 points worth of blood fed to Grandpa, Grandpa's level increases. To feed, all you have to do is interact with Grandpa. If you'd applied perks in the beginning of the game, they will also activate based on their corresponding level and provide bonuses to the family. If Grandpa is fed to level 5, all victims are highlighted for the duration of the entire match. His wars will become more frequent, and there is nowhere victims can hide if level 5 has been attained. So feed Grandpa when you have a chance, because after all,
Grandpa's the best killer there ever was.
You can also track victims by their blood trails if you have certain perks that cause them to take bleeding damage. There's also a variety of noisemaker elements that will ping victims if they make too much noise or move too quickly against any chickens or bone chimes. Be sure to keep an eye on that. During your patrol, if you spot victims, it's best to try and make those callouts to family. You can directly attack them, but that's not always the best choice, as the environment can be used to the victim's advantage to break chases and in some cases hold you hostages in loops. If you don't have anyone to back you up, do the best that you can. After all, most family members can't use wall gaps or crawl spaces to get to victims, so learn when to break a chase, but never let your eyes off the objectives. Sometimes the best choice if you spot a victim is to play dumb and wait until reinforcements arrive. It'll be your call to make, and you'll get a better feeling of it once you play more and more. If you're chasing after victims, be careful. Some have the ability to fight back. If equipped with bone scraps, some victims will charge you and enter a grapple where you and the victims must spam the following prompt to win. The outcome of winning a grapple is based on several factors, such as strength of the characters, if a victim has taken a hit or more, or how fast you spam the prompt. And lastly, if the Grandpa perk Suffocating Grip has been activated. If you win, the victim is automatically killed. If you lose, you're stunned for a while and the victim gets away. However, if another family member is within the same vicinity, they can assist and help tag team the victim, resulting in instant kill for the victim. This only works if you just started in that grapple or you're in the middle of it. Any later and the victim will have time to get away. Another usage of that bone scrap for victims is a backstab. Backstabs are essentially worse than grapples as they leave you stunned for a little bit longer. You can also be stunned by door slams from gates or doors. However, the good side about this is that once you've been stunned by any of these methods, you have a 10-second immunity, and if victims attempt it again within that time, they will not be able to stun you. With a bone scrap, if you fed Grandpa, the victims have the ability to stab him and knock him down a level, and disabling some perks. Now back to the objectives. If any of them are activated, you have the opportunity to turn them off. Battery, Gen, and Fuse can be turned off after a cooldown. The duration of the cooldowns are affected by several factors, such as if a victim had certain perks such as Saboteur, or how high their proficiency/strength they could have had when they disabled the objectives. Once the timer for the cooldown is up, just simply interact with the objective to turn it off. For Fuse, it's just a simple press of a button. For the battery, you have to hold the interaction button. And for Gen, you'll have to enter a minigame where you must press the interaction button at the right time 3 times in a row to turn that generator back on. If you fail, you'll have a couple of seconds of delay and the bar will build up slowly for each failed attempt. The only objective that you can't turn off is Valve. However, you can prevent its buildup by interacting with it and holding the interaction button. When the needle is near the green, you may have to guard that objective until the needle goes back down in the red. To be the most effective as family, you all must work together and use your abilities to prevent any victim from escaping. learn to always be one step ahead of them when you can. Well, yeah, that's about it. That's it. That's what it is to be killer. I know I said it wasn't that much, but actually it is a lot now that I did all my research and recordings and all that stuff. It is practically a lot that goes into being killer, just as much as there is for victims. It's very essential because regardless of what people say or how people feel, having both killer and victim is yin and yang. You can't be better until you play both sides, and God knows you might find some neat tricks playing on either side. For example, you might be a person who really doesn't ever main Hitchhiker, and one day Hitchhiker gets you in a weird but kind of smart trap that you haven't seen before as a victim, and you might use that to your skills as a Hitchhiker main. The same thing happens with being a killer. Say you're playing and you get double teamed in a very smart way, or a victim uses a certain loop or a strategy that kind of like bamboozles you. You just get absolutely bamboozled in a way you've never been bamboozled before, and that might be something you want to try to put to the test against killers when you're playing victim. Regardless, I want to say thank you to everybody I've used in the footage, including my friends REALLOUD, ABJ, Kyo, NICKNASTY, Blast, and so many people I can't name at the exact moment. I finally have finished the basics for killers. Now the only thing left to do is to talk about individual killers and victims. The main cast will go first and the DLC will follow soon, and I will be doing one in between, meaning I'll do one killer, one victim, one killer, one victim, one killer, instead of doing all victims and all killers, because I don't want to, I just want to make it easier on myself and have variety at the same time. So yeah, thank you for watching, and see you next time, Goofy Goobers. Bye bye.